Hey garden fam, welcome back to The Sprout. Today we're talking about one of the best plants for attracting bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds to your garden, bee balm. You might know it as monarda, bergamot, or Oswego tea, and it's called bee balm because it was once used to treat bee stings. But the real magic of this plant is what it does for your garden. When it's in bloom, it's alive with pollinators. The flowers are like a magnet for them. Bee balm is a native North American perennial that's been growing in meadows, prairies, and along roadsides for centuries. It's tough, it's beautiful, and it's easy to grow, with one major caveat: it's prone to powdery mildew. But don't let that scare you off. With the right care and the right varieties, you can enjoy months of stunning blooms without the disease. In this video, I'll teach you everything you need to know: the different types, how to plant, water, fertilize, prune, divide, and keep your bee balm thriving. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We put out new plant care videos every week, and I don't want you to miss the next one. Also, drop a comment below. Do you grow bee balm? Have you seen hummingbirds visit it? I'd love to hear about it. Now, let's get into it. First, let's talk about what makes bee balm so special. Bee balm is a member of the mint family, Lamiaceae. It has square stems and opposite leaves, and when you crush the leaves, they release a strong, minty fragrance. The plant grows 2 to 4 feet tall, with flower heads that are 2 to 3 inches wide sitting atop the stems like little crowns. The flowers come in a wide range of colors: red, pink, purple, lavender, white, and even some with bicolored patterns. The most common species is Monarda didyma, which has bright red flowers and is native to eastern North America. Monarda fistulosa is another species with lavender to pink flowers and a more robust habit. Now let's talk about the different varieties. There are many excellent cultivars to choose from. Marshall's Delight has bright pink flowers and good mildew resistance. Garden View Scarlet has scarlet red flowers and is a compact grower. Raspberry Wine has rich wine red flowers and excellent disease resistance. Violet Queen has violet blue flowers. Coleraine Red has purplish red flowers and is very fragrant. And Leading Lady Pink is a compact variety with good disease resistance. There are also dwarf cultivars that stay under 2 feet tall, which are perfect for smaller gardens and containers. Now let's start with sun requirements. Bee balm needs full sun for the best flowering and the strongest growth. It needs at least 6 hours of direct sun daily. In too much shade, the plants will get leggy, produce fewer flowers, and be much more prone to powdery mildew. In very hot climates, a little afternoon shade is acceptable, but morning sun is essential. Now let's talk about soil. Bee balm prefers rich, humusy, well-draining soil that stays consistently moist. It's actually one of the few perennials that can tolerate heavy clay soil and wet conditions. It's also a great choice for rain gardens and areas near ponds or streams. The ideal pH is neutral to slightly acidic. Good drainage is still important. While it likes moisture, it does not like to sit in waterlogged soil, especially in winter, which can lead to root rot. Now let's talk about planting. The best time to plant bee balm is in spring, after the last frost, or early autumn. Dig a hole twice as wide as the root ball. Plant at the same depth it was growing in its pot. Space plants about 18 to 24 inches apart to allow for good air circulation. Crowded plants are more susceptible to powdery mildew. Water thoroughly after planting and keep the soil consistently moist for the first few weeks. Now let's talk about watering. This is where bee balm differs from many other perennials. It likes consistent moisture. It does not like to dry out. Water deeply about once a week during dry periods, soaking the soil to a depth of 6 to 8 inches. In hot, dry weather, you may need to water more often. A layer of mulch around the plants helps retain soil moisture and keep the roots cool. During winter, reduce watering and avoid waterlogged conditions. Now let's talk about fertilizing. Bee balm is not a heavy feeder. Too much fertilizer, especially too much nitrogen, encourages lush, weak growth that's more susceptible to powdery mildew. In early spring, you can apply a light dose of a balanced fertilizer like 10-10-10. That's usually enough. If your soil is rich in organic matter, you may not need to fertilize at all. Over-fertilizing can also cause the plants to flop over. Now let's talk about pruning. This is where the experts have their own approaches. You can prune bee balm at different times of the year for different results. In late spring to early June, when the plants are about 12 to 18 inches tall, you can pinch back the growing tips or use the Chelsea chop method, cutting the stems back by about 1/3 to 1/2. This encourages branching and produces a shorter, bushier plant with more flowers. In summer, deadheading, removing spent flowers, extends the blooming period and keeps the plant looking tidy. Cut the flower stem back to the first set of healthy leaves or to a leaf node. For fall pruning, it depends. If your plants had powdery mildew, cut the stems back to a few inches above the ground and dispose of the cuttings in the trash. If your plants were healthy, you can leave the stems standing over winter to provide food for birds and shelter for stem-nesting bees. In early spring, before new growth emerges, cut back any dead material and tidy up the plant. Now let's talk about division. This is crucial for bee balm. Bee balm spreads rapidly via underground rhizomes. Within a few years, the clump becomes overcrowded and the center dies out. To keep your plants vigorous and to control their spread, divide them every 2 to 3 years. The best time to divide is early spring, as soon as new growth appears. Dig up the entire clump, discard the woody center, and divide the healthy outer sections with a sharp knife. Each section should have at least 2 or 3 shoots and a good root system. Replant immediately and water well. Now let's talk about common problems. Let's go through them one by one. Problem 1. Powdery mildew. This is the most common problem with e-balm. It appears as a grayish-white powder on the upper leaf surfaces. Severely infected leaves drop prematurely. The best defense is prevention. Plant in full sun, space plants properly, and water regularly during dry spells. Stressed plants are more susceptible. Also, choose mildew-resistant varieties like Marshall's Delight, Garden View Scarlet, Violet Queen, Raspberry Wine, and Coleraine Red. Remove and destroy infected plant debris in fall to prevent the spores from overwintering. Problem 2. Rust. Small yellow spots on the upper leaf surface with orange pustules on the underside. Similar to powdery mildew, it's a fungal disease. Improve air circulation. Remove and destroy infected leaves. Use a fungicide if severe. Problem 3. Leaf spots. Brown or black spots on leaves. Remove affected leaves. Improve air circulation. Avoid overhead watering. Problem 4. Root rot. Caused by overwatering or poor drainage. The plant wilts and the roots turn mushy. Make sure your soil drains well. Don't plant in areas with high groundwater. Avoid waterlogging. Problem 5. Leggy growth. Not enough sun. Move to a sunnier spot. Problem 6. Poor flowering. Too much shade or too much nitrogen. Move to a sunnier spot. Stop fertilizing. Problem 7. Spreading too much. Bee balm spreads by rhizomes. If it's taking over, remove unwanted shoots and divide regularly. You can also grow it in containers to control its spread. Problem 8. Pests. Bee balm can occasionally get aphids, spider mites, and whiteflies. Aphids cluster on new growth. Spray them off with water or use insecticidal kelp. Spider mites leave fine webbing. Increase humidity or use neem oil. Whiteflies fly up when disturbed. Use yellow sticky traps. Here's where you come in. Drop a comment below. Do you grow bee balm? What's your favorite variety? Have you seen hummingbirds visit it? I'd love to know. Now let's talk about bee balm for wildlife. Bee balm is a pollinator magnet. The flowers are rich in nectar and attract bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. It's a host plant for several butterfly species. The seeds feed birds in winter if you leave the seed head standing. If you want a wildlife-friendly garden, bee balm is a must. Now, let's talk about bee balm in the landscape. Bee balm is incredibly versatile. Plant it in perennial borders, cottage gardens, prairie gardens, and wildflower meadows. It's also a great choice for rain gardens and naturalized areas. The flowers are excellent for cutting and last about a week in a vase. The leaves can be used for tea and have a flavor reminiscent of Earl Grey. You can also use the leaves fresh or dried in salads. Now, let's talk about companion planting. Bee balm pairs beautifully with other sun-loving perennials. It looks great with coneflowers, black-eyed Susans, phlox, and ornamental grasses. The tall, upright flower stems provide a nice contrast to the rounded shapes of other perennials. It's also a good companion for roses, as its aromatic foliage may help deter pests. Let me give you a few quick answers to common questions. How long does bee balm live? With good care, several years. Divide every 2 to 3 years to keep it vigorous. When is the best time to plant? Spring or early autumn. How tall does bee balm get? 2 to 4 feet, depending on the variety. Dwarf varieties stay under 2 feet. Does bee balm need full sun? Yes, at least 6 hours daily. Is bee balm deer resistant? Yes, deer and rabbits tend to avoid it. Let's wrap everything up. Bee balm is one of the best perennials for a pollinator-friendly garden. It's beautiful, fragrant, and easy to grow. Give it full sun. Plant in moist, well-draining soil. It tolerates clay and wet conditions. Water regularly during dry spells. Don't over-fertilize. Deadhead for continuous blooms. Divide every 2 to 3 years. Watch for powdery mildew. Choose resistant varieties. Space plants properly and water consistently. Here's the most important thing to remember. Bee balm is a native wildflower. It's been growing in meadows and prairies for centuries without any help from us. It doesn't need perfect soil, constant water, or fancy fertilizer. Give it sun, give it moisture, and give it space. It will reward you with months of beautiful flowers and visits from hummingbirds. It's a plant that brings your garden to life. Before you go, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. Are you planting bee balm this year? What color? I'd love to know. Also, what plant should I cover next? Phlox, Echinacea, Rudbeckia? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care of your garden, and it will take care of you. See you in the next video.